Hello, in this lecture you will learn how to export the data from a single table to a single flat source file. Now to do that you need to go on the database, right click on it, you go to tasks and then you go to export data. As you can see, for the importation you do have an option to go with flat file right away. For exportation you do not have that option. So you just go to export data and then you skip this, or you can check this box and it won't be shown again. So let's move on. And now we will choose where to copy it from. As you can see, it says from which to copy data. Now it's important to take a look at these few words because the importation and exportation, they all look kind of the same, so you might make a mistake. You might go with the other one and then you'll see an error and you'll wonder why you see that error. So let's go to our database and we need to go to the OLE DB driver for SQL Server, like that. See, let's move on. And we have problem here. You could actually go through here, but there is another option. You need only DB provider for SQL Server, like that. This is a quicker option. You could do the same with that option and actually with most other options except for the Excel and obviously flat source file. So now we choose our database and we use Windows Authentication. If you're using SQL Server Authentication, you would do that. So let's move on to next. And then now you can see the same kind of thing and you might think, why did I go back? But no, you didn't. What you have here is copy data to. So this is the final exportation place, or in this case file. So we need to choose flat file destination, like that, and then we will browse. And here we need to create a text file, or you could do .csv file as well. So let's do test export. Let's do one text export 1, and let's open that. You'll soon see that file name. As you can see, you have your file and then you have locale, code page and all that, and then delimited. You don't need to set any of these unless of course you do not want the column names in the first data row. If you don't need the column names in your output, you just uncheck this box. But normally you would probably want to have those column names, so you check it. And let's move on. And now you have two different options. You can copy it right away with user interface, or you could write a specific query, which may sometimes be useful if you need to modify some data. So you might try that as well. You might try playing around with it. But normally you would just use the normal interface. It will be a lot quicker. So let's go to next. And here you just see some final choices, and most importantly you see the table choice. So now we have our test file table. Obviously we won't deal with that. We need, say, test table. Let's do. We have the test table now, and you can also preview, and as you can see, this is gonna be the output for the test table. So it's our text test column and then deck test column as well. Now let's click OK. It's all fine, and you can also edit mappings. So this is really not that useful. If you would do the other way around, that might be quite useful because you might change some data types and all that. This really doesn't matter that much. So let's click cancel and let's move on. Now you can save this package and you can put it to the file system, as you can see right here, or to the SQL server, and you can encrypt all that with a password. But you can also just run it immediately, which we are of course going to do. And let's now click next. As you can see, just a little preview, final preview, and you click finish, and as you can see, it's all done in seconds. So now if I go to my file, to my folder rather, I can see my test export 1. So if I click that, I will open up the Excel, Microsoft Excel, and I see all the outputs from all the columns and rows in my table. And with that, we will conclude this lecture.